was good. Now, Traitors, as we saw there in the clips, has a big budget and big stars who are sitting here. But how do you go about making an historical drama on an epic scale with a shoestring budget?
Well, as Greg McKenzie has been finding out, you need a bit of community spirit.
Yeah.
Through the 1,000 bomber raids on Cologne and Bremen to the present day, the Lancaster is a name that is writing war history.
The life expectancy of Lancaster bomber recruits was just 2 weeks, and Lincolnshire was where most of these brave young men were based. A new feature film, Lancaster Skies, being released this week, tells a fictional story of one of these crews, and I'm told it's been a real DIY community effort to make it happen. I've come to a former RAF airbase here in East Kirkby to meet Andy and Callum, the father and son team behind the project. So you must be Andy.
I am.
You
Nice
must
to
be
meet you,
Callum.
Greg.
It's nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And how did you even start thinking about funding a film? How much did it cost?
Well, originally we thought, oh, we can apply funding and we'll get £500,000 to make the film, but that ended up not being the case. We done it very quickly, so we scaled it back as much as we could, and 80,000 was the minimum we could really make it for. And then we've crowdfunded, asked local people to help us.
It was a community effort, really. You know, local businesses really stepped up. They helped us with the materials to build all of the interiors. So we built the RAF base interiors, we built a pub, and it was all from donated timber from local businesses.
What's the film actually about?
The film is about a Lancaster bomber crew in the days leading up to a raid over Berlin, and about their struggles before that raid.
So while we may get to go home every night, it is on the flip of a coin whether we make it or not.
So can we go and see the plane that is in the feature film?
Yeah, it's here. It's just over there in a shed.
The exterior shots were all filmed with an original Lancaster.
Yes, here she is.
Wow, it's incredible, isn't it? Just the sheer size. I didn't think it would be this big.
Yeah, it's owned by the Panton family. We came and asked them, and in the end they agreed to let us film here, you know, and we were here for 5 days.
So how did you actually film inside the plane?
We can never film inside that, it's so tight, and getting all the camera crew and everything, that was never going to happen. So what we ended up doing was building the Lancaster ourselves from scratch.
We bought a Haynes manual of a Lancaster bomber, and from that I drew a set of really basic plans.
Using a Haynes manual as their guide, Callum and Andy took 3 months to build the interior of the plane.
We convinced the local builders merchants to donate 3 lorry loads of timber, mainly plywood, and then we just set about cutting out each individual rib until eventually we had an entire Lancaster. 45 feet of the internal fuselage of a Lancaster, including all of the dials and knobs and control systems in the cockpit.
And then we have a Lancaster, albeit scale size down.
So this is one of the stars of the film, in actual fact, and the last shots of the film where you see a Lancaster flying, it is this very aircraft. All the nighttime stuff in the film is all scale models.
One of the ways Andy and Callum kept costs down was by using local people's homes as film sets. They took me along to meet one of them.
Hello.
You must be Tony.
Tony Gordon, hello. Welcome to my 1940s house.
So what was happening in here, Tony?
Well, the dining room, this is where Geoffrey, who plays the part of the Lancaster pilot, he sits down to write a very important letter. He's trying to make his decision. Do I stay on Spitfires? Do I go on to Lancasters?
What do you think it is that has brought the community together?
Everywhere you look in Lincolnshire, wherever you go, there are airfields, and on those airfields, mainly Lancasters flew. And it is part of our history, and it's part of history I think the county is very proud of.
There were over 50 members of the local community involved in making Lancaster Skies, and today there's a special screening for some of them at a memorial centre for Bomber Command.
Harry was a flight engineer and I was a wireless operator and reserve gunner. I was down at the dance hall in Boston, dancing one night and dropping bombs the night afterwards, and then back to the dance hall the night after that.
And does watching the film bring any of that back? Just some of the elements?
Oh yes, some of it, of course. Yes.
Makes you think, how are we still here?
It's really nice seeing it all like come together, and actually watching my scene specifically, it's quite nice seeing it all like pieced together. Yeah, it's really enjoyable.
It's made by family and it's supported by family, and I think that's why people got on board.
I mean, the veterans in this county should never be forgotten. You know, what they did and what they've done for us.
My my grandpa, 98, he's going to be all over
He
that.
will
He
love
worked
it,
on
won't
those
he?
planes. He worked on those
Did
planes.
he?
Yeah, he did. Now, if you want to see the finished film, Lancaster Skies is out in cinemas today.
Yes. Now, we've had loads of people